Hello, 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 hello. Here is Katherine Bihlmeier, the author of the upcoming book, The Soul on Fire. And it's a life-changing, practical guide through all areas, like relationship, like money, like orgasmic sex. And I also speak about stress because it's a key factor for burnout. And today I have a special guest who is also gonna speak at the Ban Burnout Summit on the 29th, which of course I'm inviting you to that. And it's Sheila, and we get her into our Instagram. Let's see. Here are already hearts. Thank you very much for your hearts, you lovely people. I'm so excited to give you today key tips, life-changing, life-saver key tips with Sheila. If we get Sheila in, let's see.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, she's here. Wonderful. Thank you very much for showing up. I just introduced already what we're going to talk about today. And would you like to introduce what you actually do in your life and with helping people? I did that already when I didn't see you coming in yet.
Yes, well, I'm Sheila Balgobin, and I'm known as the Dream Decipherer. And what I'll be talking about at the Ban Burnout Summit is natural ways that we can use to address our feelings of burnout and be able to even prevent becoming burnout in the first place. And I'll be sharing one of my little tips that will be typical of what I'll be sharing during the summit. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you'll join us. It will prove to be quite exciting in terms of the different takes that people will have on what burnout is and what we can do to address it, or, as I say, even prevent it.
Mm-hmm. Great. Super. And I'm going to speak also in that, and I speak about lots of life, but also about burnout, also about how I look at burnout, and also because that's very different than most people look at it, and a bit of my story also because I have been also in burnout, and how I look at it, and also, of course, with lots of gifts and practical tools to change wherever you are in your life. So, and today we wanted also to speak a bit about burnout and give you some tips. So, which tips would you want to give those people, Sheila?
Well, as I said, I'm a holistic therapist, so I always look at natural ways to address any kind of issue, whether it be physical, emotional, or mental. And one of the tips tips similar to what I will be sharing during the summit is the use of vibrational essences, which people sort of know about or don't know about. When I ask people if they've ever heard of flower essences or vibrational essences, they'll say no. Mm-hmm. But some will say yes if I mention rescue remedy. Mm-hmm. And that's almost that is a vibrational essence, and it's almost a victim of its own success because people don't seem to realize that there are 38 remedies in the Bach Flower Remedy range that can be used to help with bolstering our emotional lives. Yeah. But and from that range, I also produce my own range of essences, but from that range, I would like to share one essence that can help with feelings of burnout. And I don't know if you can see that too well, but it's called gorse. Now, this lovely flower is a very useful essence when we just are basically our get up and go has gotten up and left. So that, you know, you're feeling despondent, you have no energy, you're feeling a bit hopeless. Gorse can help address those feelings and gently release them. That's the beauty of vibrational essences, is that they work gently with the body. It's not a sledgehammer effect, you know, to kind of beat you into submission. It works gently and easily and doesn't interfere with any kind of medication or medical treatment, which is a bonus. I've given it to pets, I've given it to plants, I've given it, you know, to people of all ages and conditions, and the essences just work beautifully for bolstering our emotional lives.
You know, I'm also working with the Bach flowers. I'm even putting the frequency up with crystals and stones, and also for people, but also for kids, because kids love them too. And with my son, I had amazing experience too with the Bach flowers, and also for me, it always have been a very great possibility to just uplift also and get easier out. It's a good helper.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And there's so many vibrational essences being produced around the world, and they're being used in all kinds of ways. Nurses are being trained in how to use them in Norway. It's part of their curriculum even to be able to use essences with their patients, particularly the elderly. There are people who use them with for animals, and there are ranges that are specific for animals, though people can take them too. And I have found that children and animals respond literally like that. Yeah. They shift immediately, but adults, you know, we think, what is it? Why is it? How is it? Does it work? How do I know it's working? Blah, 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 blah. Mind keeps going on and on and on. But children and animals just accept the energy and shift immediately. It's quite almost scary to watch, you know, to see a crying child going from screaming to smiles in literally seconds.
Yes. My son and with some children, they just go there and take the bottle out, just choose a bottle and then zip it directly sometimes, which is really amazing to see how conscious they are about and energetically connected with the body and having their own knowing about what they just need without understanding. We are very often so much controlling, which stress so much also our body when we are so controlling and wanting our way and all that, or looking to survive in the normal daily. And stress is also something which is a factor of burnout too. So and yes, it's amazing to work more on the emotional, because for me it's also, if every time when we put emotions away and not want to deal what we are aware of, our body or our emotions or others' emotions, then it's building up. We're suppressing, it's building up, and we disconnect even more and more and more. And that's how actually, for me, burnout starts, because you get so stressed, you get so much easier to overwhelmed, you get so much, because everything is, all your energy goes to suppress actually. Then you go low vibration and. So how does it get even better than that then?
That's the thing. I mean, emotions are things that are transient. They pass, they come and they go. It's when we, A, don't acknowledge our feelings, and B, as you say, try to suppress them, that they turn toxic. You can be angry, you can be frustrated, but rather than saying I am angry or I am frustrated, that states that that's who you are. You could say I'm experiencing anger or I'm experiencing frustration, which comes and goes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than to bottle up our feelings, because they just become toxic. They turn inward and they become virulent. So expressing our emotions is a healthy way of being. I mean, you look at children, their emotions come, they bubble up, and they come, they go, and then they're back into their natural state, which is to be happy and to be playful and joyful. And I think as adults, we have a tendency to forget how to let things go, and just experience our feelings in the moment and then move on from there. So it's really essential in terms of keeping ourselves healthy to acknowledge our emotions, whatever they may be, and realize that they are passing, they are transient, they're not meant to sit there and kind of boil, like a pot, constantly boiling, and we constantly stirring it up. And the more that we try to push them down and push them away, the more they try to get our attention. So, if we're dwelling on the fact that we're annoyed that somebody cut us off on the way to work, we carry that through the day, and infect everybody else with that negative energy as well.
Yeah, it has an effect of the whole world, then your vibration. And what I do is I just go and say, who and what am I aware of? Or who does that belong to? Because empaths, what I found out is also that empaths like me is that we pick very often of other people's emotions just with our awareness, and then we make it to ours emotions just because we're aware of. And that's also, I just give very often the tools to just send back what you are actually aware of. Because I, since I was young, I was like having situation where I was totally happy and then just calling with someone and then having tears running and feeling totally sad without nothing happening before, just because I was aware of this person's unconscious suppressed emotions. So I invite you to also try the tool out to just, I'm aware of that there is anger, and also just check it out and send it back with total consciousness. So you're even gifting your consciousness and your awareness to this other person, where you gift actually your consciousness to this person, so this person can choose to get more awareness to the suppressing emotions or unconsciously put back, and your body gets fast very happy again. So that's also how you can deal, because if it's your emotion, it's come back, it's gonna stay with you anyway. But if you're allowing to be having your amazing awareness and just send it back with consciousness attached, then it's really amazingly, even sometimes people are coming when I do that and they tell me, this and this happened, and I just got aware when I was speaking with you, I had actually this and this going on. So it's really amazing, wonderful tool. It brings lots of magic and miracles up.
Yes, I mean there's a reason. There's an actual biological reason why we pick up on other people's energy and emotions. It was a survival tool. If somebody was feeling a sense of danger because there was a saber-toothed cat, for example, around the corner and ready to pounce, that picking up other people's energy and that sense of urgency was a survival tool. Which is why one person can start a panic in a room just from the energy that they're emitting, so that in that sense, we're all empathic. We all have that ability to pick up on other people's emotions. I too, I mean, as a psychotherapist, I've had tears running down my face, and I wasn't upset, but I knew that it was coming from the client. It was their energy that was I was experiencing. And in that sense, I was crying for them, which is a really kind of odd experience to have. But it was at that point being able to explain, it's like, I'm experiencing this emotion. Is that something that is relevant to you?
Yeah.
And quite often when they realize that, yes, this is something that I'm feeling, then their own tears can flow and mine can stop. But there's a tip that I would give to people who are particularly sensitive to other people's energy, is to always ground and protect yourself. You know, there's different ways you can do that. It could be by reciting some kind of mantra. It could be seeing yourself encased in blue light or a protective cloak, whatever it may be, whatever resonates for a person. Seeing yourself protected and surrounded by energy that allows good stuff in and the other stuff bounces off again, can be very effective, because we are energetic beings. So what we put out energetically and project is what will actually be happening for us, I believe.
Yes, totally. You put it really wonderful, Sheila. Yes, that's, I'm just looking what's coming in. You mentioned also this, we are energetical beings, and we have so much more, so much more knowing and wisdom, not in our brain, where we want to control everything, and always come to controlling also ourselves, to not make something false or wrong, or to not be wrong or false. So that's also stressing our bodies very strongly, to always, you know, trying to be perfect, or trying to find out what this other person wants from you, and then trying to make it really everything nice, and that's stressing. And it's also giving up who you truly are, your power, your knowing. And you know, it's when you're trying to be nice, then it's also not so fun for your body, and it's stressing. It's really a strong stress to always time doing your best, but not the best of what you are, but the best for another person, but coming more from a platform where it's actually where you think you could be wrong, and where you think you could do something false. This is stressing a lot, and we have that. I think everyone has that somewhere placed since childhood, and that's also causing a lot of stress, overwhelming, and costs you a lot of your power and your knowing and your wisdom, and also, of course, your energy, your happiness, your lightness, your ease, joy, and glory in your life.
Yes.
So,
I mean, if you look at the amount of self-help, self-improvement courses, or people saying, you know, if you use this product, you'll be better, brighter, sexier, beautiful, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. And it's almost as if the messages, or the subliminal messages, you're not good enough. You're not sufficient the way you are. And always having to live up to this idealized whatever it is extremely stressful for everyone at every level. I mean, you know, your kids need to be perfect. You need to smell perfectly all the time. Your house needs to be perfect. You know, your pets don't make a mess. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm reminded of a statistic that says 80% of the things that make us ill, or 80% of illness is a result of stress. I would say 100%, actually, because the expectations of other people's expectations of ourselves, the media doesn't help by, you know, pushing products that to tell you that you need to be this, that, or the other in order to be successful or to be loved or whatever the case may be. So there's constant stresses that we're facing, and trying to live up to all of these expectations will definitely burn you out, because you're constantly outwardly focused instead of being able to focus on who you are and being the best that you are. We're all perfectly imperfect. There is nobody on this planet that is perfect, unless they're paying a lot of money for surgery and pills and this, that, and the other to make themselves perfect. There's no such thing. Doesn't exist.
You can't just be perfect for yourself, but not for other people. And everything is already here. What you are is already all in you. And you come already with all your mastery, wisdom, and knowledge. You bring it already here. And the most of time is burnout is, for me, a disconnection of yourself. So what if we connect more what we have already inside than looking always outside? And when I work with my coaches, it's always, if it's in individual sessions or with also in groups, it's always to look what the people know to their asks and to their questions. It's more empowering them that they already know than telling them what they should know. You know, that's more, and there is so much outside where as you say, Sheila, where actually it's a bit of a disempowerment of showing stuff what is actually like letting them think, as you say, Sheila, that you need to get something from the outside to be whatever. But you are already everything. You are already being everything what you want to be, and you have the possibility. You have an infinitive space which you are. And I always say, my quote is always, I love that quote. It's like so many stars which are in heaven. So many possibilities for one situation, and we always look for one or two possibilities, and always comes from problems, which is also stressing your body, because actually you are so creative people and beings that you can create really from your inside your own life.
Sure. Yes. There is much wisdom that we leave untapped. And in my work in particular, working with people in their dreams, they realize that not only will dreams show us what a situation might be, or what a dilemma might be, but it also points to the solution. So the wisdom is already there within us if we take the time to go within and tap into that wisdom. And with regard to burnout, you more than likely already know what's causing, you to feel that way. It could be your job, it could be your marriage, it could be, some other kind of situation. So you already know what the problem is. The thing is, are you going to just kind of sit with that? Or will you try to find ways to work through it, to go through that process? Or as we say, go through to grow through. You can learn so much about yourself and what you're truly capable of if you take the time to do the inner work. But most people are so externally focused, always looking out there for a solution, that they discount their own wisdom, which is a shame. Because you have the solutions that you need already within you. You just need to take the time to listen.
Yes, but we are also, since childhood, we are trained to use our mind and our head instead of your wisdom from your heart power, your knowledge. There are not, I have been brought up where I have never been asked, but I know about something. I always got told, and that's not really teaching a child also to grow with their own wisdom. And now everything what we have been taught, we need to just stop with that and go inside and start believing that we know something and that we can create our own life as a paradise and with fun and happiness.
Yes, I think it's about goes back to that original premise that somehow that there's something lacking in us, that we are not good enough, that we don't know enough, that the people that have like 50 letters after their name must know something. But I would put out there that there's nothing worse than an educated fool. They have a high knowledge, but it's not connected to the heart. And, there's another saying, it says, listen to your heart. It knows the way, always. What is truth for you may not be what is truth for me or truth for another person. But truth is truth. It's just, different facets of a diamond, if you will. And we have to find what is true for us rather than assuming that somebody else knows you better than you know yourself, which could be true, because sometimes we don't look within to get to know ourselves. Again, always looking outward. But when you have an understanding of who you are, then it becomes easier to listen to your own truth and believe that you know. Or as I like to say, do you, because nobody can do you better.
Yes. Yes, I like that. That's fun. Yes. Also believe also in what you're aware of and also act on that, because very often we lose ourselves also, like you said it also before, like we are aware of what is our truth or what is going to create more for us and for our body, and then we just go totally against with our actions, and then that brings you also to burnout when you do something which is not, kind of harming yourself with going against yourself. And so yes, I think that's an amazing conversation with you, Sheila. I really love how much fuller it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating that people become excited when they actually start to make that journey within to see what's actually there. And instead of having people tell them, critical thinking is not something that is taught. We're taught to regurgitate what other people have said. And repeat it often enough that, as some people say, the lie becomes the truth because it's repeated so much. But when we start to, I think, start to critically look at things and to do critical thinking, we start to question, is that really true? Is that really true for me? And it may be, and that's fine. But if it's not, as you say, Katherine, that there comes a point where you're actually shooting yourself in the foot, because why? You're regurgitating some truth that isn't yours. It literally is making you sick because it's not in harmony with who you are. And I think these nowadays, as people become more aware of these things and start to look within themselves and learn about themselves, they're not accepting the mental garbage that's being, that's being thrown at us everywhere we look, everywhere we turn. We're being fed nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And when you step out of the matrix, you start to realize that a lot of the stuff that we get fed is just makes no sense. It really doesn't. But it does take a leap of faith. It does take a bit of work. I mean, it's easier to go with the flow with what everybody else is doing and saying, until it accumulates to such an extent to us that we start to burn out because we just want to tune it out. We don't want to deal with it. And trying to push it away, trying to forget about it, just builds up that tension and that stress to the point where we collapse. The system just collapses and we can't do anything. We're paralyzed at that point.
Yeah, we're giving up our power in actually putting it aside and not wanting to deal with it. Then we totally disempower ourselves. As you say, that we don't have any energy anymore. And for me, it's always like it's also a choice. You have possibilities to, there are so many tools also which you can use. And I get also, you have even tools which you have already in you, where you can use those tools to when you see you're already going this direction, to disempower yourself. Also in communication, we disempower very often ourselves, just because you don't want to deal with something which actually doesn't need a deal. It just needs your allowance and your choice to be aware of what you're aware of, and point. And don't make it real. Don't make it so much real in wanting to push it away. Instead, bring it on and have it and have a look. And what I said before, just send it back. If it's not yours, just send it back with consciousness.
Yes, and I think that the first thing with regard to avoiding burnout or addressing burnout is awareness.
Yeah.
That's the principal thing, being aware of not only what is going on around you, but what is going on within you. That's the first step, because you can't deal with something that you don't recognize as being there in the first place. It's like boxing with shadows. I mean, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
So the first step, I believe, in terms of addressing any issue, but particularly burnout, is to stop. Just stop. Stop running from it. Stop hiding from it. Acknowledge it. Be aware of it, and start to unpick it and unravel it so that you understand what exactly is going on, where this is coming from, and then you can start to look at solutions. How can I fix this? It may mean something drastic, like leaving a job, leaving a relationship. It may mean, moving house. I mean, whatever it is, there are solutions there, but the only solutions that are going to work are the ones that are in tune with your needs, with who you are, with what will bring you to a place where you feel happy again, or at least more peaceful, if not, jumping with joy. We need to find that place within ourselves, because it could be like I liken it to the being like in the eye of a hurricane. Now, in the eye of the hurricane, if you've ever been in one, the sky's blue, the birds fly and they sing, but on either end of that eye is complete chaos, complete maelstrom. And so it's about learning to stay in the eye of the storm, because there's always going to be some kind of storm in our lives. Always. That's just the nature of life. There's always going to be something chaotic going on. But if we learn to go within and stay in that eye of the storm, we can ride it out. We can survive it. Even it may even be happy, even with all that other stuff going on.
Yes, I would not even say maybe. We can choose to be happy. And chaos is also a wonderful energy to create, for me. Because if it's all like that, there is no way that we need to change something or create something because everything is already placed. But in the chaos, there is always a creativity which wants to unfold also in new ways. And yes, that's why when chaotic is ask questions, don't go so much with your mind, because the mind, for me, my universe is more programmed with limitations and with a lot of other programs, how something should be and is not allowed to be. But from your creative potential, which is actually also a connection point with your heart, you could ask questions like, how does it get even better than that? And what else is possible here? And, if you don't look from your mind for an answer, it will come to you. Ask and you shall receive.
Yes. Or as part of a leadership training I did not too long ago, one of our favorite sayings is 100% is possible 100% of the time. So that it's just a matter, instead of looking in this narrow band, is to open the vision up so that you can see other possibilities, or other possibilities will suggest themselves to you. I mean, I think of you put a question out there to the universe, and it may be something you see on TV, or a random stranger in the street says something and it awakens something in you. But you have to be not only aware, but open to possibilities that you haven't even considered before.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that the ideas that are presented at the summit will give people that larger or broader awareness, so that they can consider other possibilities. Yes. Whether it be, on an energetic level, on a physical level, on an emotional level, whatever it is, hopefully everyone who attends the summit will find that there is something that resonates with them, and that's something simple that they can do to shift things for themselves, so that they don't have to suffer the physical exhaustion, the mental exhaustion, the pain of being burned out. There's just no reason why we have to go through that. But it does take a bit of awareness and a bit of work, and then opening ourselves up to find the solutions that will work best for us.
Yes, I'm sure actually that everyone could get something out of that, because we have so many great speakers. And as Sheila is, and me, and there are others which I'm also gonna have this week on Instagram and on Zoom and on podcasts. So just to bring more awareness also for this summit, because burnout and stress and depression, which also leads to sometimes burnout, is a very strong topic nowadays. And not making it too much real, and not having, like, that's it, because sometimes that can also stick to you, but more like getting more awareness, and also showing in this summit that you have also other possibilities and other choices to go with that. So thank you very much, Sheila, that you choose to have this live with me here. Thank you for being my guest also here. And I'm inviting everyone who is here and who is going to listen in the future to just show up and get the Ban Burnout Summit on the 29th. It's released. And yes, and listen to the next speakers, which are going to show up here on Insta and podcast, so you get already a bit of a feeling what great speakers are here, and which brings you some more awareness to this topic. Thank you very much, Sheila. And
I'd just like to add something that people may not be aware of, is that all of the speakers themselves have been through burnout. So we're all speaking from a place of experience. We've been there, and these are our solutions, or the solutions that we have found to move forward. And thank you for your wonderful comments and that people have been leaving. It's been wonderful to see. And I do hope you'll join the summit. The entry is free. I think, Katherine, you'll probably put a link where people can be able to get a free ticket. And I look forward to sharing with hopefully all of you, or at least some of you, during the summit. So thank you all, and thank you, Katherine, for doing this. This has been a great experience.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the listeners too, and also future listeners. And you can all leave a comment, and the link is of course going to be in where you can just subscribe and get the Zoom link. I think it's a Zoom link, a link to the summit. Great. Thank you very much. I wish you a lovely day, or even if it's already nighttime or later on, then a good night whenever, wherever you are. And let's stay in touch.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone, and thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Sheila. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.